Just one. Yes, a single throw is all that is needed to collect every ship part and beat Pikmin 1. But how? How is that even possible? The last time I covered this topic, I said the lowest amount of throws needed was 3, and that lowering it even further would be impossible. I mean, how could it not be? The 3 throws left are all needed for enemies that require throws to kill. You need 1 for this armored cannon beetle, 1 for this puffy blowhog, and 1 for beady longlegs in the forest navel. Killing these enemies in even 1 throw is insane. How could we possibly bring these numbers any lower? Well, we did. With the help of the Pikmin community, I was able to eliminate 2 out of these 3 throws and beat the game with only 1. 1 single throw to collect all 30 ship parts and achieve the good ending of the game. It sounds like bullshit. It sounds like a lie, but it's true. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. Guys, if you think it's kind of sad that I've made 3 whole videos on beating Pikmin 3 without throws, please like this video. Thank you. So, a lot of you watching this video probably already know how to get a lot of these ship parts without throws, since this is my 3rd time making a Pikmin 1 throwless video. But for those who don't, or have just forgotten, I'll quickly recap every part, then we can take a look at the final 3 throws and see how they were able to be taken down to only 1. Sounds good? Okay, let's get into it. So, there are 11 parts in this game that require 0 throws to obtain. In the Forest of Hope, you have the Eternal Fuel Dynamo and Shock Absorber. And in the Impact Site, the only part that can be obtained without throws is the engine. In the Forest Naval, you have the Automatic Gear, Number 1 Ionium Jet, Anti-Deoxin Filter, Analog Computer, Gravity Jumper, and Space Float. And finally, in the Distant Spring, you have the Massage Machine and the Gluon Drive. That is every part in the game that can be obtained with 0 throws. Now, let's look at some parts that do require throws, but I've covered in my previous videos. The Nova Blaster, Radiation Canopy, and Extraordinary Bolt are all locked behind stone walls in the Forest of Hope. Normally, you're supposed to throw Pikmin with bomb rods at these walls to blow them down, but instead, we can use a Bulb Orb to knock down this one, and a Sheer Grub to blow up this one, giving us access to all 3 parts. Next up, we have the Whimsical Radar and the Sagittarius. Normally, we would need to throw Pikmin on both these ledges to grab these parts, but if we lure this Dwarf Bulb Orb over to this ledge and use the pellet it drops to clip out of bounds, we can first take a right to meet up with the Whimsical Radar, then use some good old-fashioned object nudging to knock it off the ledge. Then we can use the same pellet as before, but instead go left this time and do the same thing to the Sagittarius. To get the Geiger counter, all we need to do is make use of the fan favorite blue Pikmin lifeguards to throw our Pikmin up behind the bots so they can push it and clear the way. Now all you have to do is wait for the Snagret to get stuck and swarm its head with your Pikmin, granting you the part. In the Forest Naval, we have the Puff Stool, which can be beaten pretty easily without throws by just swarming his feet, which will cause Pikmin to latch on and do damage when he flips himself over. Now, if you've watched this channel at all, you'll know how easy it is to get the Libra without any throws. All we have to do is lure a Sheerwig over to this wall, kill it, then use the pellet drops to clip out of bounds. Then we can walk along this wall and clip up onto the higher area, which will allow us to use some more object nudging to push the part down off the ledge. The repair type bolt in the Distant Spring is basically more the same. We can lure another Sheerwig over to another wall, use its body to clip up on top of it, then push the repair type bolt down so our Pikmin can grab it. Like the Extraordinary Bolt and Nova Blaster in the Forest of Hope, the Pilot Seat and Zirconium Rotor both require throws, because to actually get to them, you have to blow down one of these 2 stone walls in the level. But just like in the Forest of Hope, we can use a Bulb Orb, or in this case a Bulb Bear, to send off these bombs, blowing down the wall and getting us the parts completely throwless. The UV lamp can be obtained in a similar way to the repair type bolt. We just have to lure another Sheerwig over, kill it to clip up on the wall, and you know the rest. The Chronos Reactor and number 2 Ionium Jet can be done completely throwless with the use of maybe one of the weirdest tricks in the game, the Dumple Fling. If you walk back and forth on the perimeter of a Dumple's home range, it will for some reason confuse the Dumple and cause it to go sliding off in a random direction. If we get a Dumple to slide into this corner, then one to slide into this one, we can use them to clip up on both ledges and knock both parts down with Olimar. Back in the Impact Site, we can get the Positron Generator in the clam by bringing our red Pikmin into the water and pushing them up on the lip with Olimar's body. Do that enough times and the clam will die, releasing the part. Now, the final final part I said could be obtained in my previous video without any throws was the secret safe. To do this though, you have to have some pretty insane luck. The only way to get the secret safe is by blowing down this stone wall. But since there aren't any enemies we can get to activate bomb rots, we can't actually blow it down. So we would need one bomb rot to spawn inside another one on this ledge, which would cause one bomb to slowly push the other until it fell off on the lower ledge. This can happen, by the way, it's just extremely rare. Once the bomb is on the lower ledge, we could use it to clip up, which would give us access to the boss. And to get our Pikmin there, all we would have to do is use our blue Pikmin lifeguard friends. Now that the boss is defeated and we have the safe, we can move the bots and nudge the safe into the water and grab it with our blues. That now brings us to our final 3 parts. The 3 parts that all took 1 throw each. The guard satellite, interstellar radio, and bowsprit. Now, the fact that these parts could even be obtained in 1 throw is kind of a miracle. And the fact that 2 of them can be obtained with 0 is actually a miracle. Let me show you how each one is done so you understand why. So, to kill Beady Longlegs with a single throw, you need to throw a red Pikmin on his body as soon as he drops down and his body is at the lowest point. Then, you just need to become the luckiest person in the history of the universe. Because it is possible that this single red Pikmin will stay latched onto Beady and kill him. It is just extremely unlikely. Every time Beady does this shake move, a Pikmin has a 50% chance of being knocked off. I calculated that it would take a Pikmin surviving 40 of these shake-offs to kill Beady. Now, the odds of that happening aren't great. And by aren't great, I mean it's like 1 in 1.1 trillion odds. Or 0.000000000000009 1% chance. So it's like insanely, astronomically unlikely, but it still is possible. And I proved this in my last video, where I killed Beady with just 1 throw. Basically, all I did was throw a Pikmin on Beady, and anytime it did damage, I would save state. And if it got thrown off, I would reload the save state until it didn't. After doing this 40 times, Beady died, and I got the guard satellite with a single throw. Now, the way you kill the Puffy Blowhog in a single throw is pretty similar to the way you kill Beady, except you don't have to have all the luck in the universe to actually do it. All you have to do is bring a Pikmin over to this island here, then lure the Puffy Blowhog over as well. When the Blowhog is near this island, he's at the very edge of his home range. And when a Blowhog is at the very edge of its home range, something weird happens. For whatever reason, the Blowhog glitches out and swaps between a state of attacking and one of returning home every frame. Since it's swapping back and forth so fast, it ends up doing nothing and just sits here while our Pikmin beats it to death. The last throw in my original video was used to clog the blowhole of this armored cannon beetle so I could wrap around and hit its weak point. You would think you would need throws to actually damage the weak point, but if you swarm in a specific way, you can actually damage it just fine. Now, actually killing him in 1 throw while swarming like this is extremely difficult and took me over 2 hours to do, but it is possible. You just need 1 throw at the start to open up his weak point, and the rest is history. Okay, so that is every throw I used in my last video. 3 in total. All used against enemies that can only be damaged by using throws. Beady can't be swarmed, the Puffy Blowhog can't be swarmed, and while the Cannon Beetle can, you need a throw first to actually do it. So how in the hell did we remove 2 of these throws? It doesn't seem like there'd be any way to actually do it. All these enemies need to be damaged to get the parts inside of them, and the only way to damage them is with throws. But clearly, we killed 2 of these enemies without throws. The question is, how did we do it? Well, to answer that, let's first take a look at the armored cannon beetle. So, before I started working on this video, I went to the Pikmin speedrunning Discord to see if anyone had any ideas on how to lower the number of throws in this challenge. I had an idea of getting a snitch bug to bring a Pikmin up on this ledge, then having a cannon beetle suck it up into its blowhole. And I wanted to see if anyone had tried it before. Well, it turns out they had never tried, because they never needed to. Somebody had already solved how to beat the cannon beetle with 0 throws. And not only had they done that, they had figured it out 6 months ago as well. How did I not know about this? The dang video was on YouTube and even linked back to my original video. Yet, I had no idea it even existed. I had to know though. I had to know how BigChunguzz did the impossible and beat the armored cannon beetle with 0 throws. So I clicked on the video and was utterly and completely confused. What was even going on here? It just seemed like the Pikmin were getting sucked into his blowhole for no reason at all. At first, I thought it was the Pikmin jumping up from getting whistled that was causing them to gain enough height to be sucked in. But after trying it myself for a while, I came to the conclusion that it didn't work that way. So, with no idea where to go next, I contacted BigChunguzz to find out exactly what he did. And the answer kind of shocked me. Basically, all Chunguzz did was dismiss his Pikmin in front of the cannon beetle right before he was about to suck in. This then caused his Pikmin to rush to the front of his face and start attacking him. Now normally, this would do nothing because the cannon beetle can't be damaged this way. But if your Pikmin swarm him in a correct way, some of them will get pushed up by the other Pikmin close enough to his blowhole that they can be sucked in. I honestly couldn't believe it worked. I thought to take this guy down with 0 throws, we would need a complex plan involving like 13 steps and some insane glitches. But no, it turns out all you have to do is dismiss Pikmin right in front of his face. Now, BigChunguzz did do this on the Switch version, so even though we did know it was possible, I had to confirm it worked on the GameCube version, because that's the version every other part was obtained on, and I was not about to do that all over again on the Switch. Theoretically though, it should work, right? Even though the Switch and the GameCube versions have their differences, like how bomb rots handle or the throwing speed, they are still basically the same game. So in theory, this should work the exact same. At least, that's what I thought. Because after a while of trying, I sent this message to BigChunguzz. In his video, he got it to work like 3 times in quick succession. But I had already been at it for an hour and couldn't get it to work once. Like, literally not even once. And it's not like I was messing anything up. All I had to do was dismiss Pikmin in front of his face. Like, literally anyone could do that. So, I came to the conclusion that doing this wasn't possible on the GameCube version. For some reason, no idea why, this just wasn't possible to do on the GameCube. Yeah, so maybe I was wrong. I don't know if I was just getting unlucky or was just bad, but this is totally doable on the GameCube. The only thing that makes the GameCube version worse is the fact that the cannon beetle has regen, whereas on the Switch version, it doesn't seem like it does. So if you miss like 4 or 5 of these in a row, he'll basically be healed up to full and you'll have to start all over. But after an hour or so of trying, I was able to nail 3 in pretty quick succession and take him down without any throws. Oh yeah, your Pikmin can also be knocked up from the boulder attack, land on his head, and get sucked into the blowhole that way, so yeah, that's pretty cool. So even though the speedrunning Discord had came through in the clutch with the armored cannon beetle, there were still 2 more throws that we needed to eliminate. And nobody really had any clue on how to do it. That was until Pikmin Tasking Legend TRR randomly dropped this video into the chat, called Blowhog No A. Yeah, he had somehow gotten a yellow Pikmin holding a bomb onto this ledge, and had manipulated the snitch bug in such a way that it carried the bomb over to the Blowhog and blew his ass up. Now, this was obviously huge. Just proving that bomb rods thrown by a snitch bug could hurt the Blowhog at all was massive, but there was still a lot of questions. Mainly, how the hell did he get a yellow Pikmin with a bomb rock on that ledge without throwing? Getting Olimar up there was easy, but getting a Pikmin up there, especially one holding a bomb rock, well, that's a different story. So I asked them. I asked TRR how they got the Pikmin up there without pressing A, and unfortunately, they didn't. They just threw them up there to test if the Blowhog could even be damaged in the first place. But on the bright side, they said it shouldn't matter. It should be able to work from anywhere. So with that in mind, I brought some yellow Pikmin to where the Smoky Prog egg normally spawns to see if I could get a snitch bug to bring a bomb from over this way, which unfortunately didn't work. No matter where I placed the Pikmin on these little islands, the snitch bug would always bring them over here to the right, which is directly away from the blowhog. See that island right there? That island is the island I stood on in my original video, which is right at the edge of the blowhog's home. So he can't go past that island, and this stupid snitch bug brings bombs to the other side of it. He literally only ever brings them this way. So it was looking like even though we could damage the blowhog, we would need to use a throw to actually do it. Unless there was some way we could get Pikmin on this ledge with a bomb without having to use a throw. And that's where one of our Discord mods, Nintendeor, comes into play. He suggested, honestly, something quite genius. He proposed using a blowhog to get a Pikmin up on the ledge. Now, this was something I did in my first attempt at this challenge. Remember, I've done this 3 times now. I used the blowhog to blow some blue Pikmin up on this ledge so I could drop them down and get the repair type bolt. I knew it could work with a regular Pikmin, but I was skeptical it would work with a Pikmin holding a bomb. But all I could do was try. I honestly couldn't believe it. I was so sure that as soon as the Pikmin got blown, it would drop its bomb and the whole thing would be pointless. But it didn't. And not only did it not drop it, it landed up on the ledge as well. Now, all we had to do was drop it down onto the wall here, which leads to the repair type bolt, which actually was a little annoying because of this gap here. If I just whistled my Pikmin and tried to C-stick him around it, he would always fall in the hole. So I actually had to grab a group of reds and whistle them and the yellow at the same time, which for some reason allowed me to maneuver the yellow further around the gap with the C-stick. Yes, this is a mechanic that exists in the game, I have no idea why. Then I dropped him down on the ledge and did this 5 more times with 5 different yellows. By looking at the damage one bombed into the blowhog, I figured I'd need 6 in total to bring him down. So I brought all 6 over to the repair type bolt, then made my way over to the massage machine with Olimar and used it to clip out of bounds. Next, I walked over and grabbed my yellows, then walked them in the out of bounds area all the way over to the puffy blowhog. I then brought over 1 Pikmin and left the other 5 sitting there in a bunch, which was a mistake, by the way, because by leaving them in a bunch, it basically guaranteed the snitch bug will grab 2 at once. And when the snitch bug grabs 2 bombs at once, bad things happen. I'm not exactly sure what's happening here, but it seemed like every time the snitch bug was holding 2 bombs, it would kill itself. Again, I had no idea why, but it meant we had to use 1 bomb. So to do this properly, we were gonna have to separate our Pikmin so that the snitch bug would only be able to grab 1 at a time. So I reset the day, got 6 more Pikmin up there, and separated them all in a line in the out of bounds area. I then lured the snitch bug over and got the attention of the blowhog at the same time, and then proceeded to drop bombs on his ass over and over again. And it turns out my prediction of needing 6 bombs was right on the money, because with our very last bomb, we were able to take down the blowhog and get the interstellar radio without a single throw. Now, onto the last throw we had to conquer. The last throw in all of Pikmin 1. The single throw needed to kill Beady Longlegs. I left this one for last because I knew it would be the hardest. It was so hard, in fact, that we created a group on the Pressa Discord just to discuss ways to kill Beady with no throws. After a couple hours of discussion, we came away with a couple of ideas on how to beat this stupid spider. The first one was to use a trick called Wollywog Transportation to get a Wollywog into Beady's arena, then have the Pikmin attack the frog, ride it up, and somehow get one of them on Beady to attack him. Remember, we proved that only a single Pikmin can kill Beady, so we would only need 1 to latch onto him to actually kill him. Unfortunately though, no matter how many times I tried this, I could not get a single Pikmin on his body. Mostly because to actually do that, I would have to whistle a Pikmin off the frog, which at that point they would just fall straight down and ignore Beady completely. Also, for whatever reason, Beady is coded to always be a certain distance away from other enemies, so when the frog jumps up, his body stretches to a crazy degree just to avoid it. So with that, Idea 1 was already dead in the water. The next thing we wanted to try was to get on this high ledge and swarm Pikmin off of it onto Beady's body. To get Olimar onto the ledge, you can bring in the same Wollywog as before and use it to clip up. Now, to get Pikmin up there, you could use the same Wollywog or swarm Pikmin on Beatty's feet, which they will latch onto and fall off on the ledge when he steps up there himself. But just for testing purposes, I threw them up there myself because doing that sounded horrible and I didn't even know if this was gonna work. And thank God I didn't, because no matter how close Beatty's body got to the ledge, and he got pretty damn close by the way, I could never actually get Pikmin to touch his body. It was the same story as with the frog. The Pikmin would just fall to the ground like a rock and miss his body by inches. To make matters even worse, I learned shortly after that the game is literally programmed to not allow the player to swarm Beatty. So this wouldn't have worked even if we could have gotten to his body. Fun, isn't it? So the next idea we had was hitting the void with Olimar and a Pikmin, which would cause Olimar's body to go flying across the map right over Beatty, where we would drop a Pikmin on his head. Now, you can't drop a held Pikmin in your hands in the GameCube version, but you can on the Switch. So theoretically, it could be possible. I just wanted to make sure first that we could even get over there by just touching the void. So I got out of bounds and climbed up to where the lever was so I could answer that very question. And the answer is definitely no. You see, when Olimar touches the void, any momentum he has is preserved forever. So I thought if we just walked forward, we would float across the entire map. But the problem is, you just can't get high enough, so you constantly hit shit, which causes Olimar to go all over the place. To make matters even worse, when you go over a part of the map that Olimar can walk on, he just drops straight down to the floor. So even if we could drop a Pikmin on Beatty's head, this just wasn't gonna work. So the next one isn't really an idea we had, but I did want to mention it. There's always been a rumor that Beatty can break out of his arena and walk freely around the level. So I know a lot of people in the comments would say, why didn't you do the Beatty glitch and have him fall off into the void? Well, first of all, the Beatty glitch doesn't even exist. There is no known way to make him leave his arena. It's just a silly rumor. And even if there was a way, it wouldn't matter. Because, like I showed in my Can You Create an Impossible Pikmin Save File video, if you allow Beatty to fall in a pit with glitches, the interstellar radio just doesn't spawn. Pikmin 1 does not have the same mechanic as Pikmin 2, where parts will respawn in bounds if an enemy falls off into the void. So if Beatty falls in, the part is just gone forever, which obviously wouldn't help us. Now, this last idea was the most promising of them all, because we knew it worked, at least to some extent. We knew the only other way you could damage Beatty Longlegs, other than with throws, was with bomb rocks. And you can actually do it without throwing too. If you bring a yellow Pikmin holding a bomb rock into his arena and have Beatty step on it, it will actually damage him. But as you can see, the damage it does is almost non-existent. Beatty Longlegs has 5,000 HP, and each bomb rock does 30 damage to him. Yes, just 30. So going off these numbers, it would mean that 167 bomb rods would be needed to take him down. Now obviously, there isn't 167 bomb rods in the Forest Naval. There's only 25. So unless we had some way to duplicate bombs, this just wasn't gonna happen. Well, guess what? We have a way to duplicate bombs, and it's actually pretty easy. If you blow up a Pikmin holding a bomb rock while it's in an animation of doing something else, like drinking nectar for example, the bomb it's holding will blow up, but the Pikmin won't die. And not only will it not die, but when its animation is finished, it will stand there holding an invisible bomb rock. Now, even though these bomb rods are invisible, they are totally real. They can be used to break down walls, and yes, even kill enemies. So, Beatty Throwless is solved then, right? We just dupe a bunch of bombs and use them to kill him. It should be easy, right? Well, in a sick twist of fate, the only way to detonate these invisible bomb rods is by throwing the Pikmin holding them. You can see here, TRR brains a bunch of yellows and a Wollywog into Beatty's arena and uses the frog to knock over the Pikmin while Beatty steps on a bomb to blow them up. Since getting knocked over counts as an animation, the Pikmin survive and their bombs get duplicated. But watch what happens when Beatty steps on the invisible bombs. Nothing happens. The bombs just don't explode. And it doesn't just work this way with Beatty, it works this way with everything. Trust me, we tried so many things to make these bombs explode, and they just don't. We tried lighting them on fire, we tried drowning them, we tried enemies eating them, we even tried the puff stool. Nothing works. Literally, the only way to get these bombs to explode is by throwing, which, by the way, completely defeats the purpose of even doing this in the first place. So, with all the other ideas being a complete failure, we thankfully had one more up our sleeves. An idea so crazy, so insane, that it just might work. We were gonna collect every ship part from around the level, bring them close to BD's domain, nudge them in there with Olimar, and glitch out that stupid spider with the sheer number of objects that we brought to his lair. And as we brought more and more stuff into BD's home, something weird started happening. Something I could have never expected. 2 ship parts combined, and we created the world's first gravity float. Yeah, no, guys, that was a gigantic waste of time. I don't even know what the plan was here. Like, realistically, what was gonna happen? BD was just gonna explode giving us the part because we brought in a bunch of other ones? Yeah, you wanna know what pure desperation looks like? This is pure desperation. But yeah, guys, that's it. This is where the Pikmin 1 throwless challenge is going to stay. At 1 single throw. It is so frustrating because we are so close to 0, but BD is such an impenetrable obstacle that I have no idea how we would ever get past. So I will leave it up to you guys. I'm putting out a bounty on BD's head. If somebody can show me a clip or come up with an idea on how to beat BD with 0 throws, I will pay them $200. I want to see BD taken down and this game beaten completely throwless. I need to see it. But either way, it is still pretty cool that we've taken the challenge this far, all the way down to 1 throw. And I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who has gotten us to this point. First of all, Mokaygee for coming up with this challenge in the first place and developing a lot of strategies used in this run. BigChunguzz for defeating the cannon beetle, and all the guys in the Pikmin speedrunning Discord. xHaii, StrongmanLin, Eggo, grassdigger, AperTAS, Pikhacker, and also everyone in the pressa Discord that helped out. Rimoraj, MNboi, Hellooo, Venus, and Nintendeor. Thank you to everyone who has helped bring this game down to a single throw. I hope that one day we can somehow conquer BD and bring it down to 0. This video was made possible through the support of our amazing patrons. I want to give a special shout out to the Frost Spirit, Sinistar Man, Real Backfish, Young Smoky VP17, Editor Dave, Charm City Gamer, Lone Trooper Wheeler, Serena Bliss, Nice Gamer Musics, Real Backfish again, Rebecca Lyons, Young Smoky VP $17. Blue Pikmin is the best Pikmin, and if you say otherwise, then movie will eat your soul. Also, this is a completely real name. And Young Smoky VP17 for a 3rd time.